This video is sponsored by Friendly TV. With over 40 channels, many of them showing your favorite classic TV shows, Friendly TV is the low-cost streaming service for those of us who remember when television was truly special. I've added a link to Friendly TV in the description section of this video. When you use it to try it out free for 7 days, you will also be supporting this channel. Hey everyone, pop culture historian Dave Sundstrom here. Today I'm taking a look at the absolutely fascinating life of the classic television actress Madge Blake. You might know her best as sweet Aunt Harriet Cooper in the 1960s Batman television series. But there's way more to Madge than meets the eye. Growing up, I must admit that I wasn't Madge's biggest fan. You see, whenever Aunt Harriet showed up on the screen, that usually signaled to a younger version of myself that there was a break in the action. Usually those scenes with Madge were in stately Wayne Manor, and let's face it folks, they were pretty darn boring. However, as I reached adulthood and I finally went back and revisited the classic television series, I was surprised to discover that I really enjoyed Madge's portrayal of Dick Grayson's aunt. Maybe that was because I had also discovered another classic television character that Madge had brought to life. I am talking about Margaret Mondello, Larry's mom on Leave It To Beaver. Much like Aunt Harriet, Margaret was a kind but easily exasperated woman. And come on, how could you blame her when she had to put up with all of Larry's shenanigans? Why wasn't that dad ever around anyway? Speaking of classic sitcoms, did you know that Madge was originally considered for another iconic role? Believe it or not, she was up for the part of Aunt Bee on The Andy Griffith Show. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts with Leave It To Beaver, Madge couldn't take the role. But here's a fun fact. She actually recommended her friend, Frances Bavier, for the part. And of course, Frances went on to make Aunt Bee another unforgettable character in television history. Another little-known fact about Madge is that she had gotten to know Frances while working with her as live-action references for the 1959 Walt Disney animated feature Sleeping Beauty. You know, it's pretty cool to think that two of the three fairy godmothers were Aunt Bee and Aunt Harriet. Let's get back to Batman. Did you know that the producers of that show considered firing Madge at one point? We don't know exactly why, but if I were to guess, I bet it had something to do with declining ratings and a reduced show budget. Or perhaps it had more to do with an overall concern about her health. More on that in just a bit. Fortunately, we have Adam West, the OG Batman, to thank for Aunt Harriet sticking around. Apparently he and Madge had become very close friends, and when he heard about her potential firing, he put his foot down. And the very next day, Adam found a freshly baked cake in his dressing room. Sweet gesture, right? And thanks to Adam, we got to enjoy Madge's charm throughout the series. Well, if I'm being entirely accurate, I believe Aunt Bee just made 2 or 3 appearances on screen during the show's 3rd and final season. But again, I believe that had more to do with her health, because just a year later in 1969, Madge would pass away. I believe it was reported as a heart attack, but from what I understand, her health was so bad that her heart just stopped working. Either way, she was just 69 at the time of her death, far too young. So with all that said, it's important to recognize that Madge lived an extremely fascinating life. Did you know that during World War II, she and her husband actually worked on the Manhattan Project? According to numerous sources, she and her husband, James Lincoln Blake, worked in my home state of Utah on the construction of the detonator for the atomic bomb and performed other jobs such as testing equipment destined for the Manhattan Project. Madge and her husband both received citations for their work from the U.S. government. You know, you've got to wonder if Madge and James ever crossed paths with this feller, J. Robert Oppenheimer. Okay, that's Cillian Murphy playing Oppenheimer in the 2023 Academy Award-winning film. But you get the point. Given the top secret and critical nature of their work for the government, It certainly wouldn't surprise me if they had crossed paths.
And now, this message.
What a mess. And look at your grimy hands.
Well, I just fingerprinted the mob.
Holy ink pad. His hands need the grime fighter, boy wonder. Pass the lava, please, Cape Crusader.
Of course.
Lava's pumice muscles out dirt and grease. Lava fights dirty hands most effectively. Just as you two fight dirty crooks.
See the dynamic duo dangle from new heights of danger.
Careful, Robin. It's quite a drop.
See them batter their way through new bat ventures with old friends. Correction, fiends.
Holy dark canyon.
I'm not just pussyfooting around this time, Batman.
Meet their wild, weird new Batversaries, the archest criminals of all crime. Be with Batman and Robin twice weekly, in color, of course, on ABC.
All right, now it's your turn. What role did you like Madge in best? Was it Aunt Harriet, Larry's mom Margaret, or some other role? Let me know in the comments section, and please feel free to share any other memories that you might have. Also, I would appreciate it if you clicked on that little thumbs up icon and maybe even considered subscribing to the channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from decades gone by. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.